Good morning, and welcome to the Naked Truth About Gardening. Many people have asked me, why naked? Naked is the perfect word to describe the relationship between nature and humans. The basic premise of our show is that interaction with nature is essential to human health. Scientists cannot explain it, but clinical studies have proven that people who garden and interact with nature live longer, stronger, healthier lives than those who don't. Just viewing nature for 15 seconds 10 times a day can reduce mental fatigue, lower blood pressure, and place your mind in a recuperative state. Everywhere I go, people tell me, I don't garden, I can't grow anything. Every plant I touch dies. I believe anyone can grow plants once they know how. Even confessed plant killers can learn the simple skills needed to sustain plant life. Like fashion, every gardener has their own style. How you grow plants is as unique to you as the clothes you put on every morning. This show is different from other gardening programs. In fact, the plant growing techniques presented may challenge traditional gardening practices. We will explore the ancient art of growing while revealing tips, tricks, and techniques that utilize technology of the 21st century, which defines the modern urban gardener of today. Trust me, I know. I was faced with an illness, complications of which caused memory loss. I was afraid I would forget how to garden. I decided to keep a notebook on how I gardened. Eventually, this journal became the unconventional series of books entitled The Naked Truth About Gardening. This show is based upon those books. I hope to reveal the secret health benefits of growing plants and teach you how to receive those benefits in just a few minutes every week. I know I didn't fully answer the question of why the word naked. Truthfully, we chose the word naked because this show has a reality element to it. It's not polished or perfect. It'll never tell you what's a good thing. It's more realistic, gnarly, buggy, and definitely muddy. So the crew and I would like to invite you on a journey of 1,000,000 miles. A journey that starts with one step. A journey that just might change your life. Typically, when you meet other gardeners, they ask, "Are you a dirt gardener?" Yes, I'm a dirt gardener, so let's go get dirty.
Saying the word shit.
Poop, cocky, guano, doo-doo.
Caca.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, and welcome to the Naked Truth About Gardening. Many people have asked me, why naked? Naked is the perfect word to describe the relationship between nature and humans. The basic premise of our show is that interaction with nature is essential to human health. Scientists cannot explain it, but clinical studies have proven that people who garden and interact with nature live longer, stronger, healthier lives than those who don't. Just viewing nature for 15 seconds 10 times a day can reduce mental fatigue, lower blood pressure, and place your mind into recuperative state. Everywhere I go, people tell me, I don't garden, I can't grow anything. Every plant I touch dies. I believe anyone can grow plants once they know how. Even confessed plant killers can learn the simple skills needed to sustain plant life. Like fashion, every gardener has their own style. How you grow plants is as unique to you as the clothes you put on every morning, as long as you put on clothes. This show is different from other gardening programs. In fact, the plant growing techniques presented may challenge traditional gardening practices. We will explore this ancient art of growing while revealing tips, tricks, and techniques that utilize technology of the 21st century that defines the modern urban gardener of today. Trust me, I know. I was faced with an illness, complications of which caused memory loss. I was afraid I would forget how to garden. I decided to keep a notebook on how I gardened. Eventually, this journal became the unconventional series of books entitled The Naked Truth About Gardening. This show is based upon those books. I hope to reveal the secret health benefits of growing plants and teach you how to receive those benefits in just a few minutes every week. I didn't fully explain why the word naked. Truthfully, we chose the word naked because this show has a reality element to it. It's not polished, it's not perfect. It'll never tell you what's a good thing. It's more realistic, gnarly, muddy. The crew and I would like to invite you on a journey of 1,000,000 miles, a journey that starts with one step, a journey that just might change your life. Typically, when you meet other gardeners, they ask, "Are you a dirt gardener?" "Yeah, I'm a dirt gardener, so let's go get dirty." Hi, I'd like to talk about small space gardening. In today's world, we have less and less space to grow our plants. There's no longer the back 40, but many people living in cities and urban areas would like the benefits of growing plants and having a healthy living environment. So I have some great gadgets and gizmos to help you do that. The first one I want to talk about is called a Wooley pocket. This is a mini Wooley pocket for demonstration purposes, but they get up to 6 feet long. What makes this so wonderful is that it's made in the United States and it's made from 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. It kind of has a felt-like texture to it, and you hang it with these grommets, and you can hook it and hang it, or you can use zip ties and hang it. And basically, if I'm going to go over here, if you look inside, it's a pocket, and they call it a Wooley pocket because it kind of feels like wool. Now, one of the things I want to show you is how would you water something like this, and would it dry out easily? Yes, it would dry out quickly, and you would need to water it frequently if it were in the sun. But if it were in a shady area, it would retain its moisture. It comes in multiple colors and multiple styles, but the keys to the functionality of this product is that inside is a plastic lining. You can see that there. And when you water, it retains the moisture. And there's this thing called a tongue, like your tongue in your mouth. And when you water up against this back wall, and it drips down this unlined piece of Wooley and irrigates the soil all the way down to the bottom of the pocket, from the top all the way down to the bottom. So this is a great way to garden in a very small space. And I'm just going to show you a few plants. We talked about variety being the spice of life. So this is a great variety. It's compact, and it's a cherry tomato. The roots don't get that deep. But see, we would just plant it right in here and hang this on a wall or on a fence on your deck, and then you would be able to have cherry tomatoes in a very small space. A balcony. I've even seen them suction cupped with the hooks, the C-hooks, to sliding glass doors. So let's move on to our next item. And this is called a columnar planter. I got it at a garden center, but recently I tried to find a new one, and I could only get it on Amazon. But this is a great use of technology. Again, it's made in the United States. Uh-oh, we're going to have one of these blooper takeout situations. And it's basically 3 sections. Whoops, there we go. 3 sections with holes on the side, okay, and a center watering system. And you would fill the soil in. Now this plant, you would definitely want to use a seedling or a plug tray, a plug start in your holes in the side, because as you can see, an already mature plant, it's going to be a little hard to either squeeze the roots in or pull the plant out. So you want to try and use this with your seeds. But basically, you fill it with soil, you put your plugs in, you snap on the next layer, and so on and so forth. When you water, it drips down to the next level. And you can keep stacking and stacking. It drips down to the next level. Here's a filter that goes on the top of your watering hole. I have no idea where I am. There's your watering hole, so that all the plants get uniformly watered. And then if you want it, you can stack them on a patio, on your front steps, on your back porch, next to your garage. Or if you like to hang them, you can hang them. But I did notice when I hung it, it required more watering than when I kept it next to the ground, either cement or concrete. It kept it from getting too hot. So I think this is a great columnar planter. This is a wonderful planter. It doesn't really look like a planter, does it? Maybe I'll come down a little bit. But basically, it's a hanging planter like this. And you can take plants of your choice. Oh boy, we're not prepared today. Whoop. And you hook them in like that. Get a plant. So if you want a column of petunias, and I love petunias, I love the way they smell, and I hang this right by the door, there you have it. And you can keep going all the way down and put more petunias in it. Isn't that a great idea for a small space? You can also mount this to a wooden fence or a wooden structure, your garage. Okay. I love small space gardening. Getting the most for your space is just one of the funnest things you can do in gardening. Seeing how much food or fruit you can get from a tiny area is tremendously fun. Okay. This is from Earthbox, and it's called a growing wall. And it's a stackable planter. And basically, you can purchase 3 at a time. These, now I've used mine, so it is dirty. But you can see here, it's a regular size planter. It's deep enough, it's 6 inches deep, so it's deep enough for anything you would like to grow in it. And you put the lid on, okay? And then you put another one and another one and another one, and you can stack them. And because of these little curly-Q sides, see there's these little connectors. So you can connect them long ways and then not put the top on at all, and maybe do tomatoes or eggplant. Or you can stack 2 up, 1 down, and make a design. It's a great design from Earthbox. I love this one. This is another great use of technology that defines the modern urban gardener. I saw this in Hawaii, and it's called a living wall. And I've mounted it to this plywood just to give you an idea of how it would work. Have any of you ever watched that National Home Improvement Center's spring commercial where they say if you make a wood box and you put a piece of lattice over it and you fill it with soil and then plug in all the plants and hang it on the wall, it'll look great in just 3 seconds and we have everything you need to do it. That box would weigh over 300 pounds and the water would drip completely to the bottom and nothing would get watered and it would die and you would be frustrated and think, I can't grow anything. But that's not true. This is a great technology use and it's called a living wall. And if you notice, I'm going to show you this side first. It's slanted so that when you stand it up, we're going to put a few plants in here. Gravity will hold the plants back. Okay? Now the other thing is, and I'm going to tilt it again so you can see, this is the top. If you could see that hole in the top, that's how you water it. And inside each one of these little squares is a piece of, I refer to it as garden wool, but basically it's a recycled fiber material that absorbs water and will deliver it to your plants. So what we do, just going to dunch this back in here, is you're going to screw it to your wall. Now this is screwed to the plywood. You would screw it to your wall, you would screw it to your fence, it can go onto concrete, it can go anywhere. But you want something sturdy that's really going to support the weight of the plants and the soil, especially when it's wet. Okay, so now when you're ready to plant this, I love petunias, and I love smelling them at night with a glass of wine during the summer. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that all of your wool pockets are in their little holes. Okay? It's securely mounted. It's easier to plant it once it's mounted than it is to plant it and then mount it. So securely mount it to whatever you're going to mount it to. And then your wools are in the back, okay? Before you put your wools in, definitely soak them in water because they're sort of baked and to make them lightweight for shipping. So soak your wool so that they're wet. Place them in there. Okay. You're going to fill the hole with soil and place in your plants. Okay. I love blue and white. It's one of my favorites. So you can alternate this. And this is going to give you a great show of color. Do we have another one? Yep, another white one here. Okay, and this is going to fill out and take up this whole wall. Petunias are great for shade. The large bell petunias are great for shade. If you're going to use the smaller petunias, those are great for the sun. But let's say you don't want to use petunias. Let's say you want tomatoes and herbs. So we're going to go back to the cherry tomatoes. Again, you're going to fill the hole with soil, plant your tomato in there, and then this whole wall you can eat right from the wall. Every day you can have a salad. So I have one more thing to talk about. So here's another great product from Earthbox. Many other companies make them, and I thought we'd talk about them. This is called an Earthbox, and basically, you can see the wheels. It is a movable garden, and I love movable gardens for several reasons. One, in the spring, you could put them in a sunny area or inside if there's a danger of frost. In the summer, if it's too hot, you can move it into a shady area and you can water it. And then, best of all, you can extend the harvest in the fall. When the frost is coming and it's getting cold and the light is fading, you can wheel these around and extend your harvest well into the end of November. So how does it work? It's pricey, so it's important to understand the technology that's making it work. As you can see in the bottom, there is a well. Okay? And this grate goes on top of the well. I can push it in there. See that? You fill it with your growing medium, whether it's garden soil, whether it's soilless potting mix, whichever you want, you could put in here. We're going to talk about pots and soil recipes, but for right now, you can pick whatever you want. It doesn't matter if there's weed seeds in it. This is your watering tube. I'm going to put that in there. You're going to fill it with soil, and then you're going to cover it with your mulch. Let's talk about the mulch. It's a plastic film. You can use dark mulch if it's in a sunny area because it's going to keep your soil cool and moist. But if you're growing tomatoes or peppers or any of those other things, you would use the red mulch. And basically, you stretch it over the top, okay? And it's a tight stretch. Whoop. There we go. So you stretch it over the top like that. And then you cut holes and plant your tomatoes or your peppers or your zucchini or your bush cucumbers. But you want to make sure that you pick varieties that are smaller. A great tip to make use of this space is to grow, instead of a cherry tomato, to grow a tall tomato, and then a zucchini will take up the space on the bottom and you're still getting a vertical growing. Now there is a trellis that you could also purchase to attach to this, but it was a little difficult to drag it into the studio today. It also comes with a fertilizer that you apply before your mulch. It's a 777. We'll have another segment where we talk about fertilizers. So right now, that's about it for small space gardening. I'm so pleased to announce that we have a new segment, Questions from the Viewers. And I have a few questions here. We're going to see if we can give you some interesting solutions to your everyday problems. Lisa M. writes, what is the best way to clean my houseplants when they get dusty? Houseplants are a great example of plants that can grow outside of the natural environment, maybe bringing a bit of nature into the house with you. And there are some simple ways that you can keep them free of dust, because dust will block light transmission to the leaves and slow the amount of chlorophyll that makes in the leaves and retard the growth and health of the plant. So right off the top, the easiest way, if it's a small plant, is to pick it up and put it in your shower and drizzle it with water, just like natural rainwater will wash the leaves clean. If that's not an option, if you have a 400-pound ficus, you can use something like this. Now, this is the common dust off that you would use on your computer. And here, the key to using this is that you want to use it from a distance because it's under pressure and it will be cold. But you can just, oops, let's try that again. You can just blow, but again, you want to maintain that 4 to 6 inches of distance so that you don't give them any cold burn. Now, another commercial way to cleanse your plant leaves is to use leaf shine. There are many different companies, see it says leaf shine, that make leaf shine. We just happen to have this brand here. And basically, what you would do is take this and just wet apply it to the plant, and it will dry and clean the leaves. So those are some great ways to keep your houseplants healthy, happy, and growing well. Carol R. asks, what garden plants do well in full sun? Many garden plants do well in full sun. The important thing when we're measuring the amount of sunlight is the intensity of the sunlight and the duration of the sunlight. How long will that plant be in full sun? And is it filtered through the canopy of trees, or will it be reflected from a concrete patio or the white of a house? So those are issues that you want to think about when you're selecting plants for full sun. But some of my personal favorites for full sun, and if we're going to talk about annuals, I love the cut and come again zinnias. These are beautiful. And what I like about them is what the name implies, is that you cut them, you bring them in your house, give them to a neighbor, give them to a relative, someone who can't get out to appreciate the beauty of nature, and they come again. More flowers come in. And I'm just going to tilt this a little bit so you can see how beautiful they are on top. And you can see we have color coming through on the ones that are already there. The ones that are spent, we're just going to pluck off. And then we have fresh buds coming in for additional color. So this is one of my favorite annuals, and the seeds are very easy to sow. Now, if we're going to talk about a perennial, these Rudbeckia, or commonly known black-eyed Susans, are a great perennial. This is an heirloom variety that I got from my great aunt, and they grow wonderfully in our climate. And you can see here the seed heads will drop a lot of, I'll see if I can get some of them in the fall, will drop a lot of little tiny black seeds, and they spread and multiply. They're hardy through drought, they're hardy through flood, frost. They're a great plant as far as a perennial goes. Now, this plant over here is a yellow straw flower. Let me see, it's so much better when I tilt it. What I like about the straw flower is the different phases that you have in one plant. It's a little bit, it's not as soft and supple as most blossoms. They're kind of firm. And the reason is because you can pick them, and they're an excellent dried flower. Now, the more you pick any flowering plant, the more it will bloom. And these dry well, and I use them all the time in arrangements or decorating in the house to bring in that little bit of summer sun. So these are a few of my favorite plants for growing in full sun, but certainly feel free to go to the website to find an additional list. We are so pleased you could join us today. For more gardening information or to connect with gardeners of the globe, go to www.honestgardening.com. If you have specific questions about today's show, you can find me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter. All of us at Down and Dirty Enterprises hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we enjoyed making it. We hope it's both entertaining and informative, but most of all, we hope you'll join us in the weeks to come. Until next time, stay healthy, stay strong, and happy gardening.
I can never forget the feelings that we had. It's the timeless things you said to me. Give me